everybody, my name is Kaylee Kelly. I am a yoga group X teacher at the CRW. So today we're going to do a 30-minute yoga practice. I apologize for all this going on in the background. I'd like to film outside, but I had to film inside today. So we're going to start in a standing position at the back of our mat. Roll those shoulders back and down. Here in mountain pose, palms out like this, and just take a minute to maybe sway. If you need to adjust, maybe roll out your ankles and wrists. This doesn't have to be a static or a stiff pose. See if you can find some looseness. I'm sticking to my mat because it's hot in here. It's kind of gross. And start to focus on your breathing. Maybe put a hand on your chest and your stomach so that you can feel your inhales and exhales. And feel that that stomach is filling up. When you breathe, also take a second to check in, like, are you sore or stiff anywhere? For me right now, it's my lower back. Are you holding tension? So just think about that for a minute. Settle in here. And the next thing we're going to do is look down at our feet. Make sure that they're coming under our hips, that you can wiggle your toes. You're not like pushing forward or putting strain through the front of your feet, but that you're balanced between the 2 points here in the front of your foot and your heel. Excellent. So we're going to start with kind of some heart openers, or a sun salutation with heart opener modification. So we're going to inhale up, and if you'd like, you can bend your legs on the way down. Inhale, looking up. Exhale down to touch the ground. Inhale up to flat back. Keep these knees a little bit of a bend in them. Exhale down. And inhale up. When you come up here, you can meet these hands in prayer. You can have them still open, but just arch it back a bit. Look up. Get that heart opener. And if it feels better for you, you can also go like this. So have these arms out. It's up to you. You can experiment with what feels good. Your hands can be here or even on your hips, as long as nothing's twinging or tweaking. Just go with it. Inhale up, exhale down. That was my cat. Inhale, exhale. Yeah, you might see my cat. There's a paper bag in the kitchen. Add that bend. Bring it down, so hopefully she's not too noisy with it. All right, now this time we're going to stay down. Bring this hand to the middle. Reach this one up like you're stringing your bow. And get a nice stretch. And you can have a good bend in this left leg. Great, other side. Excellent. Okay, so from here, we're going to keep it down, and we're going to walk out to downward dog. So just walk it out, pedal out through your feet, like this. Really push back into those heels so that you get a nice stretch through your back, perhaps. So do a few more of these here, then we're going to meet in child's pose. And as you're completing this little downward dog stretch and coming down to child's pose, where you can be, show you the variations. Here, you can be here, here. You can also be an upward dog if you want, reaching forwards. But as you come here, check in with your body and see if there's any place that you want to stretch or anything you're feeling that maybe you've been tuning out throughout the day. Like a lot of times I'll get on the mat and be like, oh, I have to use the bathroom, and I've probably needed to do it for like an hour, or oh, I'm really thirsty and I've been thirsty. So maybe just take a second to check in. So this is a video. You can always pause and meet those needs, or it could just be muscle groups, tension. Maybe take a minute to rub your neck, or add any modification that's going to make the pose better for you, like what I was just doing with the rocking. This feels good on my lower back, so I'm not taking the traditional puppy pose. All right, so we will roll back slowly. We're going to meet in a seat in hero pose here. Let your head be the last thing to come up. Awesome. Okay. Maybe wiggle it out a bit. And if you'd like to take a quick oblique stretch before we get into our standing practice. So what we're going to do here is do a quick prep before we move back up into downward dog. Just take a second to get into a nice table pose, spreading through your fingers like starfish hands, and drop that stomach, and then exhale to arch your back. And we're just going to do a few of these before we transition. So exhale the cat, inhale the cow, exhale, inhale. Let's do one more. And then after that inhale, when you come back to neutral, we're going to just push back up into downward dog. So again, pedal it out a little bit here, and then raise your right leg, or whichever you prefer. And we're going to step it over to this right elbow. And back up. Left elbow. And back up. Bring it towards the midline like you want to touch it to your forehead. Back up. And then we'll bring it through it and set it between your hands. Awesome. Now we're going to rise up into Warrior One. My head's kind of cut off, so I'm going to come low. But your arms can be up here. They can be here. If you're comfortable with it and you want to take a back bind with the prayer pose behind your back, that's fine. You can even be here. But wherever you are, breathe. Check in with your hips that you're not tilting this right one forward, for instance. Tuck it back. Tuck your pelvis down a bit. You might need to adjust your stance. Breathe. Check in with your abdominals, because we're not trying to like suck them in or crunch them, but we do want them to be supporting our lower back. And you might find that just engaging your abdominals totally fixes your alignment, because that will tuck your pelvis a bit and support that lower back. Awesome. So from here, we're going to rotate this foot. So now my toes are pointing right there, Warrior Two. And maybe just check, adjust your stance, your heel. This front heel should be pointing towards the arch of your back foot, all in a line. And check in here. It's so easy to just like stick your butt out. So check in, tuck that pelvis down, engage those abdominals. And this pose we're going to move through a few times. I'm going to move back a bit so that I'm not totally out of the frame. But we're going to be inhaling up, exhale down, inhale up, exhale down. Excellent. We're going to hold this last one more. Great. Look out over those hands, really reach, reach, reach. And now we're going to bring it back, keeping that front leg bent. And then forward, humble warrior. Place your arm right here, but don't dump a bunch of weight into your leg. Rotate and think almost as if you're reaching up. Like check in maybe that you can, and that your weight isn't all piled in here. Awesome. Now let's bring this down to the ground here. Pop that back foot back up. Open and a twist. Bring your right foot or your right hand down to the inside of your foot. Now I've set that back foot down, so toes are facing that way again. Open up, and this is a nice inner thigh stretch. Great. Now we're going to frame this foot with our hands and just stretch it back to this triangle pose. And you can experiment here with moving your pelvis, moving your hips, keeping them very square. We'll kind of probably get a nice calf stretch, whereas tilting them more to the side, like this, like you could so easily move forward to the center, really gets the inner thigh and even a little of this opposite oblique. So just experiment with that. And when you're ready, we're going to come forward. So you can fly it forward if that's in your range. I'm standing like this. But you don't have to, limited room here, You don't have to like move that abruptly. You can like walk it forward, walk your hands forward. I'm gonna stay here so you guys can see. Try not to kick my wood stove. And this is another good place to have a prop. If you're near furniture, if you have a book or something that you can use. In class we would usually use a block, but your goal is to be up here. Your arms can be out like this. They can be clasped. Again, whatever arm variation you like. So we're here, and if you're here, that's fine. I think so often people are like, oh, I can't do that pose, but doing assisted variation, even just like this, is strengthening this leg. Playing around right here is working on your balance, so you're building up all the muscles you need to get there. Okay, so you can bring it up, and again, you might feel free to touch your toes down or whatever. So we're going to come into standing and transition to tree pose. So that can be here, 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 not on your knee, but it can be above your knee, which is what I like. When you plug in there, then you can kind of tilt your pelvis, and it like creates this oppositional force that I feel like makes it easier to balance. And you can hear, I'm going to do this because I do prayer hands all the time. So we're going to breathe here for a bit. And this pose might not look like this for you. It could be moving in and out of it and practicing your balance, and that's great. I couldn't even get my foot off the ground the first time that I tried to do tree pose. It took a lot of practice. When you're ready, we're going to bring it all down, shake it out. Awesome. Gaze up. We're going to come out to downward dog and repeat that sequence on the other side. So, pedal your heels out a bit, leg up. You can tip it over if you like. Now, bring it to meet that left elbow. Opposite elbow. Really moving with through your abdominals, forehead. Great, and one last time through the middle. Awesome. Now we're going to come up to that warrior one. Checking in with your pelvis, your sacrum. You might need to tuck it down. Adjust your stance like me. When you're ready, open it out. And we'll move through this posture. So, inhaling up, exhaling down. Checking in that you're tucking that sacrum in. All right, one more. Bring it back and forwards. And your gaze can be straight ahead. It doesn't have to follow your hands. Down to our twist. A lot of times following your hands with your gaze can cause some tightness in the neck. So if you're feeling that, just keep your gaze straight ahead. Awesome. Now we'll transition to this triangle, really feel it out. Get that nice deep stretch. And remember, poses are very different if you hold them versus maybe moving in and out of it, adding movement. Both are great. So experiment and find out what you like, but whatever you're doing, just stay with that breath. I'm gonna move back a bit, but we're going to transition forward here, if you can, and that's in your practice. Remember, we don't want to lock out this knee, but it can be very bent. It doesn't have to be close to straight, and if it is, remember to keep that softness in that knee. One side might be harder. I feel like this side is harder. If you are up here again, check in with your hips. You're not rotating out. All right, and we're gonna draw it up to our tree pose, whatever that looks like for you. Come way back here. Awesome, so we'll take some breaths here. And if you can look up, if you can do a heart opener here, get that back bend, that's great. I can't, but if that's in your range of motion, go ahead and do that now. Awesome. So we'll bring this foot down and we're gonna shake it out, rotate. Perfect. So one more time, we're gonna take that downward dog. Following your breath, and then bring those knees down and come into your chosen child's or puppy pose. Reconnecting with your breath. If you set an intention at the beginning of this practice, now is a great time to revisit that. Or just check in and see if maybe you're thinking, whenever I get in a groove with my body, I know I'll start, like, when I don't have to think about what I'm doing with my body anymore, I'll be like making a list for stuff to do after. So if that's the case, see if you can let those thoughts go and just be in the moment and focus on this. So we're gonna meet up here in hero pose. Again, do that slow roll up if you can. Excellent. So we're going to come forward into our tabletop. So here you have an option. We're gonna head into a plank, but you can do a regular plank or you can do a forearm plank, which is what I'm going to do tonight because I am working on strengthening like my shoulder, my back, and all the muscles that are involved with doing forearm stands. So this is a great setup for that, for building strength for that. So you can come up into whichever one you like. I like to move into it from downward dog. So I'm taking a dolphin pose, rolling forward, and we're gonna hold here and breathe. But if you like, you can always step to the side, and get a good ab workout. Really push up and out through those shoulders. And when you're ready, we're gonna transition to side plank. And if you'd also like to add abdominal work and an added challenge here, I'm gonna go to the side. You can do hip touches, hip dips. Oh, my elbow is like grinding into the floor. Like that. And also you can be here if you need, or if you'd like, you can take a tree. If you want to get a heart opener, you can drop this leg behind you and reach back. Awesome. Wherever you are, we will transition to the other side. So coming into that side, either forearm or regular plank. Here, do some dips. It's up to you. My obliques are actually really sore right now. This floor is hard. I should have like laid another mat on this side as well. I'm gonna take a little wild child. Excellent. Bring it back down. Now we're gonna come up into a seat, into a butterfly or cobbler's pose. So this can be wherever you need it to be, close to your body or far away, into a looser diamond shape. It's up to you, but take a second here to breathe, check in, and maybe do some spinal flexion. So rolling the shoulders back, reaching forward, getting that heart opener, and then rolling it back. Inhale, exhale. Excellent. So we'll do a few cycles of those at your own pace. Wonderful. I'm going to walk it forwards a bit. You don't have to do this. Again, if it's uncomfortable, being here is fine, especially if you can continue to do that spinal flexion. And also check in, because if your legs are too tight to your body, you might feel some discomfort in your knees, and we definitely don't want that. So if you are doing this, just check in. These are the things that it can become easy to ignore, because we ignore little discomfort so often throughout the day. So really make sure to adjust for that. We definitely don't want to hurt your knees, and I think we're really used to little pains in our knees, pains in our neck. So just be aware of that as you practice, because you can adjust for it in yoga. It doesn't have to be uncomfortable. All right, so come up, and if you'd like to take a more comfortable seat, we're just going to do another quick, since we have worked those obliques a bit, checking in again, because we want to stretch everything that we've worked before we move on, just a little side to side. Perfect. All right, so we're going to roll down, and I'm going to adjust my mat. All right, so from our seat, we are going to roll down, and you might need to experiment with the angle of your legs. You can always do that when you get down there. But I just like to check in one more time that my shoulders are down and back, and then slowly roll it down. Nice. Ooh, that's quite the glare from the sun. All right, so here, just check in with your body. Place those hands down, and we're gonna roll up, starting with that sacrum, tuck it up first. So this pose, as you can see, is totally powered by your abdominals. You're rolling through those. This contraction is what's causing all your movement, so don't think about so much pushing through your legs, although of course those come into play. Really power this through your abdominals. And if you do that and you don't feel much weight in your legs or gripping your thighs, just doing this relatively easy looking roll is gonna really work your abs. So check in with your breath as well. And of course you should be neutral neck looking up at the ceiling. And check in with your knees again. If you're feeling like gripping or anything, maybe adjust your angle a bit. Make sure you really give those glutes a good squeeze at the top. All right, so some variations. If you're interested, you can raise one leg up and down, which I find more difficult. Again, I'm also pretty sore right now. So whatever you do to one side, do to the other side. So another option, we'll do 4 more, is cross one leg over, like so, and roll up, making sure that you aren't putting pressure on your knee. You kind of have it below your knee. So this can add in maybe a hip flexor stretch as well. So we're going to do one more. Excellent. So just take a second, check in with that spine, maybe roll it back and forth. Rotate wrists, ankles. Bring those feet in. Wonderful. Bring them up like this. And if you want to go into full-on plow pose, you can just continue the stretches we've been doing. Or if you'd like to move to a little rock and roll, This is a great little back massage, and I also kind of like to roll on my sides, as well as just the center. But if it's in your practice, or this could just be something you're working towards, probably gonna hit my wood stove, but you can move into Palau pose. But just remember, you can definitely rock into it, but you're not using that momentum to get into it. You do need to have some control from your core. So, there. Well, I'm kind of in Palau pose. I'll put my feet on the wood stove. Oh my gosh, okay. And if this is in your range, you could have a little playtime here. This is like an ear opener. You can do some shoulder stands. Open it up, kind of like Happy Baby. Bring it back down. Wonderful. So wherever you are, take a quick minute. Maybe massage down your stomach. Focus on that breathing. Notice if there's anywhere else that you're going to want to, maybe for you personally, add in some poses at the end of areas that you need to work. And then if you like, take this moment to maybe massage your forehead, your temples. I always say here, under the zygomatic, this muscle here, I can't remember which one it's called, but does so much work throughout the day. And then maybe I like to take a V, make a V, and kind of massage these lymph nodes here. Check in with the back of your neck. All right, so we're gonna do some twists first. So put that left leg flat on the ground. Take your left hand to your right knee and just draw it over. And if you'd like to extend or bend this right arm and look over here. So we'll take several breaths here. Wonderful. All right, let's bring it back to the middle and do the same thing on the other side. Excellent. All right, bring these legs up again. Place your right foot over your left knee. Drop it down to the ground. You're standing on the ground with this foot. Awesome. And you can again look over here. When you're ready, we'll come through the middle. Do the same thing on the other side. Checking in, massaging those abdominals. All right. We're going to come through the middle. One more time, hug those legs in. And if you'd like to work into a Happy Baby, you can grab the outside of your feet, your toes, so it can be here in kind of this like, froggy, baby looking pose. Or you can work on extending it. And I like to ease into it by extending one leg and then the other. And then eventually maybe moving to full extension. Also, in the studio, normally we would have a strap to do an adjustment where you could put a strap on your foot. You can do that at home with like a belt, a towel, anything like that, a scarf, anything you don't mind putting around your feet, and just loop it around like we would with a strap to give you a little extra hold. And that can also be beneficial for working into the pose, for working on it. Never feel like because you have to do a modification or, back in the days when we were able to go to classes, something different than what people around you are doing. I think a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not doing the pose because of that, and that's not the case at all. You're working towards it, or you're just doing a modification, and all of those modifications have different benefits. So that's what I think about that. So wherever you are, if you would like to take these feet in here Maybe one more in the center, and we're just gonna stretch it out. Come into our Shavasana, but before we do that, let's take a very active reaching, reach through your feet. Now, if you have this stuff at home, and if you would like, I'm going to show you a heart opening modification. So, I should have told you at the beginning of class, but a couch pillow works great for this. You can put it like this, or lengthways, up like this. You can play with like what height you need, and you can stack several of them. In class, this is something that we would do with blocks, but you can do this at home. You can also roll a blanket and kind of adjust it so that it's midway down your lower back. This is a great heart opener, and it's very relaxing. So if you'd like to take any variation like that, prepare to do that now. If you just want to put your head on a pillow or cover yourself up with a blanket, go ahead. So here I just want you to take a long moment, however long you need, to revisit that breath. See if you can have kind of a meditative end to this practice, if you can free your mind of whatever thoughts might intrude. It's okay if it happens, because that's life, but just see if you can let it go, let it pass. So take as long as you need. When you're ready to come out of it, I always roll on my side in like a fetal position and come up to seat, but you do that on your time. Shavasana is part of the exercise, and it's very important. So yeah, take a long moment for that. I'm going to leave you to it, but I'm so happy that you could be with me virtually, and I hope that you found this class helpful. So namaste.